If you want to believe that Bell went from a 200-pound person to a 130 or 140-pound person, that much fat evaporated in the fire, it didn't do it with the kids.
He was packaged like he was dressed out like a hunted animal, like a deer. You know, somebody knew what they were doing when they took care of him, and he was packaged quite nicely. And he was bled. There was no blood. They think they found the tarts of 35 to 40 different people. The media was from all over the world. The German media was there, the English media, French.
And hundreds and hundreds of people would come down.
The rose on a string once behave, was it not a flame, what once was.
Back then they were all dressed up. Ladies had parasols, and they going right to where they had the graves, and there were people watching them dig.
So I sleep with a white heart, once red and unbroken, I keep it apart.
He said it was like a circus scene, and they were selling food and beverages. It's like, boy.
They just stopped digging. They don't know whether they found all the bodies or not. People had Bell sightings. They were always saying they saw her in the yard looking for something, or... I mean, she became a myth, and she still is.
Oppe I skogen der du ser han mannen der, enda litt lenger bortover. Så kanskje ikke den... Altså gikk det, vi må kjøre opp bakken her og en 400 meter, 300 meter kanskje. Minneplata som ble satt opp av historielaget I Sølven. Her han Jon Arvid Størseth som eier området nå. Så det det øverste huset I bygda det her på en måte, før du kommer inn til Langlien.
Det mange som kommer og besøker det stedet her, eller?
Nei, jeg har vært en del akkurat I det siste. Du må komme tilbake og ta noen sommerbilder, vet du, fordi at det litt bedre å se da, området. Ja, det det.
Hallo, Brynjar.
Og det det lille huset, det det brønnehuset det vet du. Så vi sto jo omtrent her vi da, ikke sant, når vi var på der.
Hei, ja.
Nei, kom igjen.
Det så langt tilbake I tid, her det ingen annen enn hun som har ansvaret for. Slekta kan ikke belastes for det her. Dess mer noe her kommer frem, det blir en dokumentar på TV2, ikke sånn? Så blir det film, og så kanskje det kommer litt til noen revyer, det kan komme til 17. mai-toget, folketoget med plakater, det kan bli et orkester som dukker opp som heter Βᴇʟᴜᴜ efterfølgere, eller noe sånt, Βᴇʟᴜᴜ.
Det faktisk et band I Amerika som heter Βᴇʟᴜᴜ. Ja. Det første, så jeg letet på internett, det første jeg fant, det var at Βᴇʟᴜᴜ hadde spilt på en konserthall I Minneapolis. Og det synes jeg var litt rart. Og så jeg fikk museet I La Porte til å sjekke opp det der, og da var det en sånn black metal-gruppe som kalte seg Βᴇʟᴜᴜ. Og det også et ølmerke I La Porte som kalt opp etter Βᴇʟᴜᴜ. Βᴇʟ� Stout.
Βᴇʟᴜ Stout. Is it good?
Yeah, it's good beer.
Is it popular?
Yeah, it's popular in the port. It's made right here in town.
You know why they call it the Βᴇʟᴜᴜ?
Just because of the story of Βᴇʟᴜᴜ, serial killer. It's a little stronger than your regular American beers, but not too bad. 847.
Som har vokst opp I en utrolig sånn klasetid. Βᴇʟᴜᴜ. Det var bare å pugge, og det var liksom sånn fakta liksom hele tiden, og det var Guds ord da, som gikk igjen. I 1865 så hadde det aldri vært så mye folk I Sølven. Det var 5400 det. Da var plassene for små.
De klarte ikke å livnære seg på plassene sine.
Things were not what they expected when they came over here. Oftentimes, I think letters were sent over from here to Norway that said it was better here than it was.
I think Belle found the United States to be big, roomy, ungovernable, lawless in many respects. So varied in people that nobody paid attention to her. That it was a good venue for what she wanted to do. Definitely money and property and status was very important to her. And looking good and making everybody think she was a very respectable citizen was extremely important. I think she liked doing things that would not be traceable, that people wouldn't come back and talk about. Which was a good business to be in at those days.
Her sister, she had the sister that brought her over from Norway. Her sister said she never had any children of her own.
Often wondered that. He worked during the day, and I had a father that worked nights and slept during the day. So knowing how that kind of a household is run, it's possible he knew very little to nothing. Intelligence would say he had to suspect something. But maybe he didn't. Maybe he just didn't want to believe it. I mean, your husband dies suddenly, and he has 2 insurance companies that she gets a double dose of insurance money, and they're not saying, well, okay. I don't know how she did that. Was she that charismatic, or was she that hysterical? Did she scream and cry and carry on and frighten everybody? I don't know. I'd love to know. Dr. Mueller.
Who was that?
He was a good friend of hers, and he was a friend of the family. Friend of the family being... Friend of the family, what's that? She knew him.
Didn't she live with him? Wasn't he a tenant?
He was a tenant for a while, yeah. And you can speculate how that went. He did the autopsy. He came up with the verdict they needed for his death, Motz's death. You know, he came in and said, yep, he died of a large heart. Didn't check toxicology in the stomach. They didn't, which they did in those days, you know. They could have seen that he'd been poisoned, but they didn't do it. And Motz's brother wanted to have another autopsy, wanted to have him exhumed and have another autopsy. It was like $300 or $400, and they couldn't afford it, so they didn't do it.
ᴅᴏᴄᴜᴍᴇ brought a lot of attention to LaPorte many years ago, and so it was good for LaPorte in many ways, but also a lot of people don't like the attention of ᴅᴏᴄᴜᴍᴇ because of the fact that she killed a lot of people. There still seems to be a lot of interest in it. She was in the Guinness Book of World Records for many years, and so that really helped to put LaPorte on the map as well. Now on McClung Road, and all the property you see on the right was property that belonged at one time to ᴅᴏᴜᴜᴜ. It was part of her farm. This should be the spot, as far as I know.
That was a highly suspicious death anyway, that a meat cleaver or a meat grinder fell on his head, and that that was as mysterious as phony a death as her first husband in Chicago. A meat grinder falls off his head, and he's supposedly gets up and feels okay for a while, but he's going to go lay down for a while, and then next thing you know, the man's dead. But see, they couldn't prove anything. You know, they just couldn't, in those days you couldn't prove anything. So she got away with it again. The Gunnis family thought that Belle was going to come after this young girl that was still living, and they thought they even saw her in a neighborhood by their house. So they took her to one of the relatives' farms, and just hid her away. And that's how they felt that she had, you know, they thought maybe Belle would have tried to kidnap her, take her away somehow. I mean, she was clever. If you've read any of her letters, oh. The postman would regularly visit her. She was always coming down to pick up the mail where he left it off, 1 to 4 letters every day, he said, almost. And his comment was that she seemed very disappointed or irritated even when there was nothing for him to deliver. But he was pretty busy going out there.
So she didn't kill them right away. Meet them at the train station, take them up to the house, feed them lovely Norwegian food and give them the whole homey thing. And the men were like bachelors. They're like, oh my God, this is wonderful.
She was exactly what she said she was in these newspapers. She was the owner of a 40-plus acre farm by herself. She had a very small mortgage. She had goats. She had pigs. She had for a single woman, you know, she was a pretty good catch, with the exception that she was a little hefty. But anyway, they came out here. She said, bring all your money. And they didn't sometimes. They were looking, you know, too. But I tell you, they spent one night with Belle, they went back, and they got their money.
So this is the First National Bank building. It was built in 1867. And this was the bank where the victims of ᴅᴏᴄᴜᴍᴇ brought their money deposited in her account, this bank. And it's now a French restaurant called Café L'Amour.
Isn't it ironic?
The Café L'Amour, the cafe of love, and she lured these victims here for, was it for love or for money? I think it was for money.
And when she was ready to get rid of them, evidently she poisoned their food and then would go up in the night and hit them in the head with a hammer. A normal procedure.
What is it?
Well, this is a skull, and right here it says, found in outhouse, which is like the privy, on Gunnis Farm. And look right here.
What's that?
I think it's a bullet hole. Or maybe it was made with an ice pick or something. I'm not sure. But we had an archaeologist here, and he said this was definitely Scandinavian forehead and stuff, that he could tell by looking at it that it was Scandinavian. So, kind of interesting.
Don't you know who it is?
Nope. We don't know who it is.
There were a lot of people that came here thinking that she had murdered one of their loved ones or relatives, and that was never, they were never found. So I don't know what parts she fed to them, or which people she fed to them.
She was very famous for the sausages, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, she was.
All the people of LaPorte think about that.